Okay, so who was in the room one and who would like to share? And what I will do is I will just put on this this as well so that I'll note down what you're saying and we can just discuss about what your thoughts are. So room one, who was in room one, and please do share and please make it to 1 minute if you can.
I don't know which room I was in. You tell me, was I in room one?
You don't know either.
Okay, so
I'm just guessing, Samesh, we were in room one because it's you popped in at the very same
sorry,
time.
You were in room 10 actually. You were in room 10.
Oh, was I? Right.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah. So what do you want to? What were your thoughts? Who wants to speak?
Well, do you want them in room order? Do you want me to start?
Go ahead, Pat.
Okay. 3 questions, 1 minute, 20 seconds apiece. I'll do my best. On the positive side, we funnily enough slipped into the negatives, but staying positive, the flexibility of the program. I have a lot of experience in pathways, and one of the things I find about it is that it's just endless vistas. You can really go in any direction you want with it, regardless of which path you're on. The fact that new members adapt to it very quickly, the fact that it's varied, the online material is very helpful, as are the online evaluations. And some people particularly like the fact that you can record those evaluations. And also the connections that are there to learning videos. We got on briefly to how one might encourage members onto the program, and it wasn't really a problem, just you're on it, pal, and that's it. It's the only game in town, and we haven't had too much resistance to that, I have to say. From an early enough stage, we had everybody registered to it. One thing that did come out in that is the fact that it's not 3 years, Samesh, it's near 5 years since Pathways reared its head. And for an outfit that's in the business of education and leadership, I find it remarkable that we're still trying to plug this program, which has such strength about it. I was initially resistant to it, but I mean, I think Pathways is great. 2 things we haven't done. We haven't contextualized it in terms of every other education and learning program that people will encounter with their lives, and it is directly relatable to those kind of programs. And we haven't started at the base level of people's existing knowledge and experience. We've done whiz bang, new kid on the block, and succeeded in everybody being shock and awe, startled, and we've had to try and pull people back from that not well. So of the mass of material that's out, I've actually designed and delivered a number of Pathways workshops. And I've kept it very, very simple. I've connected it to what people know, and I've had very strong feedback from that. I'm just a civilian.
Thank you.
Why isn't this being done more widely? And it's built up as this great edifice. Pathways is very, very simple. It's very flexible. It's very doable. That should be the message.
Thank you so much, Pat. Apologies, I'm cutting you short, but
not at all. No, I'm going overtime. Go ahead.
Worries. But it's great points, and this is what I think. If we start looking at positives, we will see positives. If we start looking at negatives, we will see negatives, obviously. So that's why it's very important to concentrate on positives, right? So who would like to go next? Because I don't know whether you remembered your room numbers. So anyone who wants to go next?
I go next, if you don't mind. Then
yes,
I'll have it out of the way.
Please.
We only discussed actually 2 questions. It was the positive aspects of Pathways. The same as previously mentioned, it is a great choice and a great variety of points and a great variety. Then how to encourage members to Pathways is because it is a great variety, there is something for everybody there, even for people who've done things before. So it's for people who've done previous Pathways. Now there's no more new stuff online. You can register there. And we also said how to encourage members is to brainstorm together, either at the beginning of a meeting or at the end of a meeting when we're all sitting together with the computers, which wasn't possible with the Zoom meetings. So they restricted us a little bit in that way. But the suggestion we got that when the live meetings are there, everybody who has a computer, a laptop, or any other device get together and we can learn from each other, because we came across the same problems we have. Some find it difficult to navigate through the online content, but there are people that are more savvy than others. And this would be one way to encourage each other and learn from each other. Unfortunately, we didn't get to discuss the last point, how to get people to register on Pathways. And because we all struggle with the same thing, that sometimes it is hard to navigate. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being short and quick, Bianca. Who would like to go next?
I can go next, John Murray.
Thank you very much, John.
Yeah, our group, looking at the positive aspects of Pathways, is structured and a clear process. It's educational on internet use, because that's where it all happens, and it helps people sharpen their internet skills. There's a huge information resource in there, and as it can be done on your own time online, and a lot of people, as said, are used to working online, particularly in the last 2 years. How do we encourage members to get on Pathways? There was one person in the group just very innovative, like a previous speaker. They constructed a step-by-step guide and a slideshow on how to use Pathways. Also, the suggestion, and it was useful, to sit down with a new member on a one-to-one basis, perhaps in front of the laptop, and talk them through the process. Also, for your own, getting used to the whole package, which was I suggested, and I have done this, is just take 10 minutes every day to go into it, because don't become overwhelmed with it and don't go down a rabbit hole. But if you take 10 minutes just to navigate around the system each day, it's quite helpful. Didn't get a lot of time to look at the last one, but there was a good suggestion that we could perhaps use a buddy system to encourage people who are speaking but not registering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And the rabbit hole thing is a good one there. I would agree. I think it's good to keep at a high level and try and understand what the flow is. And then probably the rabbit hole might be good as well. And when you talk about a rabbit hole, my kid is very small, and they watch Peter Rabbit. And what Peter Rabbit says is, a good rabbit never gives up. And that's what we should be. We might, some people might find technology challenging, but let's not give up. Let's try, keep trying. So thank you very much, John. Who would like to go next? I think we have 4 more minutes. Thank you, Lee, please.
Oh, hi, how you doing? So just a couple, just only talking about the positives from our group. I had the idea, I thought one of the programs, the projects was very creative. That we had previously we had someone who did a podcast. So I thought that was a very creative project, and I was very happy to have that. Another one is although, yes, that we do hear a lot of negatives about Pathways, but it has great potential. You don't forget that things can change and things will be, amended in Pathways as well. So it has excellent potential, So it has the potential to have a very bright future. And in terms of getting people sign on, we're thinking maybe that little mini workshops, I suppose, at the end of a meeting, just to encourage people just to get registered if they've just done an icebreaker or whatnot.
Thank you very much, Lee. Absolutely nice points. I think it's quite important that people register online, and that's where the challenge is. People might give speeches, but somehow they don't keep track online. So thank you so much for that suggestion. And I see Jamie. Jamie, would you like to go ahead, please? Thank you.
Yes, on behalf of our group, we would agree completely with the others on the positives. The amount of material that's there, particularly online. And one point made, of course, was that the actual choices you have in giving talks, there's up to 300 areas you can talk about. And therefore, if somebody has the desire to get into it, and work a bit at it does get great. But the problem, is bringing some other people, and in our club, it's particularly maybe some of the older very good members who are well qualified under the old regime, getting them to go in and register and do it. You can do a lot of hand-holding, but and encouragement, and I suppose you have to keep that up. But that works, I think, better with the newer members.
Thank you very much, Jim.
On the
Apologies for cutting you short.
On the right.
We have two more quick contributions and then we'll stop. Jamie and Olivia, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Kumar. So we are at the positives. We're starting to repeat things now. Some of our members love Pathways, find it really useful, and because it is, you know, once you get used to it, when you get over the learning curve, there's a lot of resources in there. It's very positive. It's easy to see your progress. Now, it's not intuitive initially, but if you get over that learning, then there's a lot of stuff in there. In terms of encouraging people, there's definitely a need for every club to consider having a mentor or a guide to help people. Admit that it will be people probably over 45 who are not using IT in their normal work activities. Those are the people that are going to need help in it. They'll be apprehensive. So, you know, look out for those. Don't let when those people turn up, don't let them fall away because of Pathways. Identify them as needing help and possibly a mentor or a buddy system.
Thank you so much, Jamie. And we are a Toastmasters family, so I think that's very important to have that family approach. And last, Olivia, and then we are actually run out of time, but a quick.
On the positives, it's a combination of everything that was said, but to point out that it is an excellent learning process in comparison to some of the corporates that are out there for such a small fee. And that will bring you to encourage members to go on. We all have Zoom now. We have 40 minutes free. We can buddy with a member very easily from our own chairs. And if you have an active VPE, a mentor, or an active secretary, that can happen very easily. And to get people to register, the incentive is to have a team effort for DCP. And Easy Speak is also a big incentive because you have all the records there. So it's very easy to help a member if they have forgotten when they did a speech or when it happened. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone, for your contribution. It's been an excellent discussion. And just imagine now, when we started thinking about positives, how many positives did we get? So it's Wayne Dyer has got a great saying: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Right? So please think about it. And we'll take 5 minutes break now, and we'll come back with the succession planning session by Paul O'Mahony after 5 minutes. So that is 3:17 or 3:18. Please come back quickly. Thank you very much. Welcome back after the short 5-minute break. We had 1 hour session, and it's very important to take a 5-minute break after 1 hour session. And that's why we are doing this. And after the second 1 hour, we'll have another 5 minutes. And then the third 1 hour, after that, we'll end the session, the work group. So now I've got a great pleasure to welcome Paul O'Mahony, who's got a lot of experience in terms of training managers and leaders. And he has done a lot of leadership roles in Toastmasters. And he's going to help us understand how we can do succession planning. Thank you so much, Paul, for leading us for this session. Huge round of applause to Paul.
What an awful word, succession planning. It's pure corporate gobbledygook, isn't it? And some of you certainly didn't join Toastmasters in order to have to put up with corporate speak like that. Isn't that right? How many of you actually have used the term succession planning in your club meetings so far this year? Hands up. See, none of you. Oh, sorry, only Sharon from Belfast. Right. So succession planning is quite obviously. Now look, did any of you, when you had children, do any succession planning? Did you ever plan ahead in order to see, how many do we need to make a committee up? What kind of roles would I like in my family? Did any of you do any of that when you were on the altar or in the registry office? Or did you do any succession planning at all? Have you done any of that in relation to your grandchildren? Have you got them marked out? Have you been lobbying your children in order to make sure that they produce enough grandchildren? Yes, yes, I see some people have already. Good stuff. I've got a little bit of time with you about succession planning, but look, what is it? I'll tell you what it is. It's about looking after, on the one level, it's about who's going to be on the committee next year. You know, who could be a better president than you? Who would be a better VPE in your club than you have been yourself? Because you certainly don't want a worse one, do you? You want a better one.
I know.
Yeah. So the job of succession planning is how to get better people into the roles than you've been this year. Isn't that right? Hands up all those who think it wouldn't be a bad idea to get worse people into the roles next year. Right, I see. Okay, so look, that's what it's about. I got a few minutes with you on this particular topic. Two things I'd like you to have handy. Can you get yourself a notebook, please? Pencil, paper, back of envelopes. I find these things are pretty handy when you go to training courses. You can usually write notes on those. But if you want to use a notebook, so yeah, you need something to write with. This is going to be a whole lot of writing here. You can use the chat if you like too. So how many of you, quick, put a yes in the chat, just why? How many of you have been on a club committee before this year? So you're kind of like, this is your second period on a club committee. Put why in the chat, every single one of you. And those of you who have your screens turned off, turn on your screens, for goodness sake. Come on, prove that you're here rather than out in the kitchen making a cup of tea. Okay, so we got some people who have, oh, look, we're falling down with experience in this room, aren't we? Okay, the second thing I want you to have with you handy is this Menti thing. You know this Menti thing that Somesh put up there? I've got a little question. I'm going to see if you can get the right answer. So if you have your Menti ready, I've got a number for you. Will you write this number down? Ready? 53, 51, 30, 30. So 53, 51, 30, and 30. You've all got that written down? Excellent. God, you're very sharp in this group. Here we go. I'm going to share the screen and let's see what I can do with you. Are you all on Menti now? If you're not on Menti, you're not on Menti. Don't worry about it. But if you're on Menti, here's a question for you. Now, how pleased are you in your club committee role this year? Mm-hmm. How pleased are you? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Great. There's the four possibilities. You're disappointed, it's okay, it's good, or it's delighted. Right? Mm-hmm. There are the four possibilities. So let's see. And it's anonymized. You can put down you hate it if you want to. Nobody will know. You can put down you love it if you want to. This is very good. God, this is absolutely fabulous. Come on now, everybody chip in. It'll give us a good feel. And there's a reason why I'm asking you to do this. And you probably guessed. Oh, it's getting better and better. We've even got 17 people have responded so far. I think there are about 67. So we'll be here till next week at the rate some of you are putting in your answers. Can you hurry up, please? Can't be here all day. I'm going to stop the poll very soon. I see more honesty coming through now in the group. There's a real integrity about this group of Toastmasters, isn't there? Can you see the results, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Yes.
whoever's helping me out, I'll see you afterwards. I'll put a pint for you behind the bar, okay?
Just one.
Okay, that's enough anyway. That'll just give me an idea. That just give you an idea. You can write down your own answers yourselves, you know. That's why I want you to have a notebook. You can write down, I'm disappointed in my role, I'm good in my role, whatever it is. I tell you why I said that is, if you guys are actually going to bother your heads about thinking ahead about who's going to be on the club committee next year, if you're going to do it, only those of you who are really, really keen on your present job are likely to do it. The rest of you will probably do nothing. Isn't that right? Anyone who's disappointed won't bother encouraging anyone to go onto the committee. Anyone who wrote down okay, they're very unlikely to do anything. There's a good chance that the people who said good will be divided between those who said good because they thought it would look good, and those who decide, hey, look, but the delighted people, you're the ones, you know, that are, well, I'm just really pleased. So there you are. There's a challenge. If you're disappointed in your current role this year, put your ego aside. Be responsible and get some advice from somebody who has a better idea about the getting people to come on the committee than yourself. So there's one question. Now I have another question. I have another question for you here now, guys. This one's more complicated. This one is, whoopsie daisy. Let me back here a second. This is more complicated now. So I have to say that this one will require a little bit more. Have any of you done postgraduate degrees? That this one probably be very stretching now. So here we are. Here we go. Here's the question. No, that's the wrong question. Silly old twat, Paul. Okay, here's the question. I'm coming back to it in a second. Stop sharing. Definitely don't want you to see that. Think about it. What are you going to do now in the next period of time? Oh yeah, here we are. I'm ready now with you. What are you going to do about this succession planning? Are you going to do anything at all? Let's see. Let me give you this question to see if you're up for it. Now, there you are. There's the question. Again, can you read that? Why? Yeah. How likely are you to recommend your role to another member this year? How likely are you to do it? Now, those of you who said you don't like the role, why on earth would you dream of recommending the role to somebody next year unless you want to give them a bad experience? We're doing well. My goodness, you're speeding up. 31 responses already. And you know what? Well, the heroes, of course, you all know this. The people who've done it already. I mean, I feel like asking you to identify yourself in the crowd, but that would be, you know, being Toastmasters, you'd be too modest to identify yourself. But that is really gold standard stuff, guys. Congratulations. Right. We are looking like as if things aren't so bad. There's a whole lot of you very likely to recommend next year that somebody takes over the role. Right. You know, of course, because you read it in the club leadership handbook, didn't you? That you're meant to do this, that it's one of the responsibilities of every year's committee to make sure that the club has an even better committee the following year. You've all read that, haven't you? Yes, yes, thank you. Thank you there. Now that's lovely, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you very much, Anne. Thank you very much, Olivia. Yeah, a better committee. Imagine if the committee got better year after year after year. What difference would that make? Now, here's a leading question. Write this answer down in your book. How many of you think that the committee was better a few years ago than it is today? I'm not going to ask that publicly, but let's see. Write down the answer. How many of you think your club had a better committee 3 or 4 years ago? More committed, more inventive, more innovative. Better example of the Toastmasters promise in action. Because that's what it's all about, isn't it? That's what the committee exemplified. The Toastmasters promise in action. Okay, what is the best way to get people to come on to the committee for next year? Now I'm going to do a table topic here. I'm actually going to ask 4 people, 2 men, 2 women, to answer that question in 30 seconds. What's the best way to get somebody to come on to the committee? So you're all ready to chip in here? Well, let me first of all go, Vincent Delaney, what's the best way to get somebody to come on to the committee next year, please?
I would say seed it, as in SEED. Get the thoughts out there, get people thinking of it from now or from before. And so that it doesn't become a shock at the end of the year and you approach somebody and people toy and think about it. And then if there's any chance of a one-to-one, you might mention it to somebody. I've noticed you've been very active in the club. Would you consider it and have time to think about it and let it sink in?
Give that guy a huge applause. What a brilliant answer. Thank you, Vincent. Well done. Now, Anne from Portlaoise, let's hear from you. What's the best way to get someone to come on to the committee in your club, Anne from Portlaoise? You have to unmute yourself, Anne. This is table topics now.
Yes, Paul, thank you for that lovely topic. And Vincent, great answer. And I agree entirely with it. Get the work done before it all ends and you've only a few weeks left. And I would imagine choose who you think might suit and start speaking with them and go through everything that you've done literally in your year. The things that worked for you, the things that didn't work for you, and the things that can be improved on. And just basically encourage them. That's it, really. Just encourage somebody that you think has it in them. Bring it out in them and help them and mentor them for the following year.
My God, isn't she good? Isn't she good? Samesh, you've got the transcription of this. We have a testimonial. We'll put that in your next division newsletter, okay? Great response there. Let's ask Sharon from Belfast. Sharon from Belfast. What's the best way to get someone onto the committee in Belfast?
I think to show enthusiasm for your role and let them know that it's one of the best ways to get involved in your club and get to know other members.
There's a terrific, thank you. I love your use of the word enthusiasm. Now let me find another woman who's going to answer this question. Let me go to the president of Maynooth there. I can't see your name there, president of Maynooth. Come on board and tell us what's the best way to get someone onto the committee in Maynooth?
What I would like tell them about the benefits of being on the committee and you know what you will get from it yourself, because to be quite honest with you, you will learn a lot about yourself when you're on the committee. So I think it's a great learning curve. So that's exactly it.
God, what a bigger benefit could you get out of Toastmasters than learning a lot about yourself? Once you know a lot about yourself, you can get any job. Once you know a lot about yourself, you can get a really good marriage. Absolutely. If you don't know anything about yourself, you're in trouble. Thank you very much for that lovely answer. Hey, I'll tell you something. Let me tell you a story. And I want you to listen to this and then write down what you think of this approach, because I've been at a few clubs in my life. So what happens in the club is that at the annual general meeting of the club, or maybe a meeting before it, somebody who will be nameless stands up and says, we're going to have elections for the club committee at our next meeting. Anybody in the meeting like to be on the club committee? Anybody? Have we got any nominations here? And the whole room is quiet. Whole room is quiet. Have any of you ever experienced that in your life? Only one, only Donald, only Larry.
Yes.
Only this. So, okay. Now look here, we'll just test it out. Hands up, all of you in this room today who'd like to be club president next year. How many hands have gone up? About 2%, yes? Right. So what do you think of the idea of making an announcement in the club to say who'd like to be on the committee next year? Is that a good idea? Okay, let me ask Larry. Larry, here's the table topic. How bad an idea is it to call publicly for volunteers for the committee? How bad an idea is it, Larry?
It is a very bad idea, because who's going to commit themselves publicly and embarrass themselves, or maybe they've not even thought of it or have never considered it. So therefore, I don't think it would be a good idea. And as far as I've seen, it doesn't really work. Thank you.
Larry, you read the script brilliantly. Thank you so much. I can't believe that you got my email in time. I know, joking apart, Larry. What a isn't that a great answer? Yeah. Let's get someone else to tell me. I'd like the president of Kildare Club there. How bad an idea is it for the president to say at a club meeting, we're going to hold an election. Are there any volunteers for the committee next year?
I don't think you should do that. I think it is a far better idea to approach a person personally on their own and just say, look, how would they feel? It gives them a chance to say yes, and it gives them a chance to actually think about it. Don't just catch them on the hop. Give them a little bit of time to think about it. It's not fair otherwise, and you need to get someone who's really thought about it and is willing to commit. So
that's terrific. Now, you know how important it is not to abuse your position in Toastmasters, and I have a powerful position here because I'm in charge. So what I'd like to do is to give somebody an opportunity to put the opposite point of view. Somebody who thinks it's a really, really good thing to make an announcement that there'll be an election and call for volunteers at the club meeting. Come on, let me have somebody who do I see Jim Keating saying that he thinks that's a good idea? Off you go, Jim. You have to unmute yourself, my friend. You have to unmute yourself. Maybe
it would be an excellent idea if you wanted to continue on as president yourself.
Oh, Jim, joke master. Do you have a joke master in your club?
No.
Well, it's a terrific. I tell you what, consider it, because that was superb. That I will never forget. In fact, anytime I do training, I'm going to quote you. That's fabulous. So look, guys, here's a model for how you could do the succession planning, right? You might like to write this down. Now, this is the Rolls Royce of succession planning. Is that, oh yeah, we got enough time left. I've been shown the green light. Here's the model. As soon as somebody joins the club, give them a buddy, give them a coach, and give them a mentor, right? That's the start, right? They just joined. Give them real support. Now, as soon as they have a mentor, you've got somewhere. That's the good foundation then on their further development. But what you on the committee want to be doing is watching these new members and saying to yourselves pretty soon, maybe after they've been to 2 or 3 meetings, what do you think of the cut of her jib? do you think she could ever be any use to us as a leader? I mean, if she's not any use as a leader in a Toastmasters club, she's probably not going to be any use in her job. I mean, after all, Toastmasters are full of nice people. When you go out there to be a supervisor in your job, they might not all be as nice as Toastmasters. So being a leader in a Toastmasters club should be much, much nicer than being a leader in a job that you're paid for. So the key thing is scouting, just keeping your eye open in the very, very early stages, particularly the vice president for membership and the vice president for education. You're interested in career development, aren't you? Vice president for education is all into career development, aren't they? Helping people to advance their career. Thank you, Donald. I can rely on you all the time. I love it when people nod. So they basically, you're right from the very beginning. So you might be saying to yourself right now, look, that person's just joined club last week. They could be club president, you know. They have it. It would be good for them. You obviously don't want to promote people above their level of comfort, but they could be ready for it. So there's the first thing, to be actually keeping a list. So I'd love to go around to your club and say to the president, can I see the list of the people who you have your eye on? Now, do you want a completely new committee? Do you want to, you know, get rid of all, would you not think that you should get rid of all yourselves and get some fresh blood in and get some new life into the club by replacing all the existing committee? Hands up all who think that'd be a good idea. Good, good. I'm very impressed with you. You recognize the value of continuity. Really important not to replace the whole committee in 1 year. How many of you think that the whole committee, all very keen volunteers, should be allowed to stay on the committee the following year?
No. Nope.
Depends on their experience, in my opinion.
In my opinion, I'll tell you, you shouldn't let it happen. You definitely shouldn't, no matter whether they're the bee's knees, no matter whether they're the best club committee you've ever had. My piece of passionate advice to you is, do not let them all be on the committee the following year. Send them off to join another club and be on the committee in another club. But don't you get a good turnaround. How many of the 7 officers should change every year, in your opinion?
They should
3?
all be promoted.
3? Do I see anyone saying 2?
I'd say 3.
Come on, anybody else in advance on 3?
No, 3.
3 seems right. So 3 out of 7, right? That seems to me to be very healthy. Very healthy. And look, here's one last piece of advice I'll give you. When you start off getting a new person onto your club committee, don't assume that they should start off being sergeant at arms, a role of no importance. I'm not saying it is a role of no importance. Do not start them have to go through 7 years before they become the club president. They go into the sergeant at arms, then they become the secretary. Well, you definitely won't have them in the treasury's job for 1 year, will you? How long do you need to keep your treasurer? A few years, absolutely. You don't want that job, but you do want an assistant. Now, here's the trick. My definitely get assistants into these roles. Get a deputy president. Get a deputy VPE. Get a deputy membership. Deputy. And let them go to committee meetings. If you're going to miss a committee meeting, let them go instead of you. So look, there you have it. Succession. You said it yourself.
Paul.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question? Do you think would it be good advice to nominate a vice president and have the vice president automatically elected in the following year? So you wouldn't have to go around and canvassing and
No, I'm not in favor of automatic anything. I mean, I think elections are the best. Get as many elections as you can. That's health and vitality.
Yeah.
But the key thing is, the main job you guys have to do is a mixture of talent spotting and planning ahead.
Yeah.
Do not just keep doing the same thing. But
So
yeah,
you
that's
don't-
my advice, Eddie. Eddie, I also think everybody, it's fantastic if you go up for election. You have to canvass, you have to, anyway,
Yeah.
look, there we are, guys. That's a little.
Paul, can I ask a question, please?
Of course, but I have to defer to my boss.
Sorry, what advice would you give to a club? We're in the position, we don't have a huge number of members and we are struggling to, you know, to kind of maybe get our whatever we need for the end of the year. And I know that we will struggle to get people on the committee. We have done for the last 2 years. And we have, like, for example, I went and did president again. The lady who's president this year, it's also her second time, but there was nobody else who would take it on.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just asking the question, Paul, and that's what we're going to be faced with again this year.
Yeah, we're all going to face that, Catherine. Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, that's just the reality of it.
Yeah, let me answer you.
Okay, fair enough. Thank
And
you.
anybody who has questions, will you drop the future ones? I'll get killed if I go on for much longer than one answer. Somesh will never invite me back again. Will you put your questions into the chat then, and we'll do it. But here, come back to Catherine's thing. Look, first of all, we all know what a dreadful position that's in. Frankly, we need to get more members for Carlo. Let's collaborate and get more members for Carlo, right? That's the first thing, whatever we do. Because even if we don't get more members for Carlo, Carlo's going to be in trouble, no matter how good its committee is. So somehow or other, Carlo has to get more members, right? The other thing is, well, you've got members in the club. There's got to be some of them, at least one, who hasn't been on the committee before. Now, when you join Toastmasters, here's the little devious trick you can pull, Catherine. Don't tell anybody else this. Don't repeat it, okay? Just for you. When people filled out an application form to join Toastmasters International, whether they read it or not, and it is their responsibility to read it on the back of the application form before they sign, they're not just signing over their money, they're signing the Toastmasters promise. In the Toastmasters promise, every single person has promised that they'll be on the club committee if they're asked.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't always work like that, unfortunately.
So, wait a minute. You might have Mary or Harry in the club, has never been on the committee, right? Well, it's time you took them for a pint, had a good chat with them, and shoved their membership application form in front of them and said, by the way, Harry, this is it. So, with no more ado, thanks a million, guys, for your attention. Thanks a million. I hope you got some benefit, and I've certainly have loved looking at all your faces. Thanks a million.
Huge round of applause to Paul for a very engaging session, and thank you so much, everyone, for your participation. Sean O'Brien, I see your hand raised.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to take issue with Paul in relation to the Sergeant at Arms position. I think that's one of the most important positions in the club. And I was in a club on one occasion. Now, I wasn't up to professional speaker level, but there was one member who competed in the World Finals twice. And he wanted me to join this professional speakers club along with him. And I went along on the Saturday. I paid the money, and not one person came near me. Result was neither myself or the man who had the potential of being a professional speaker joined that professional speakers club, at all. Now, I have done all the roles in Toastmasters. I've been in Toastmasters since 1992. That's the first time I've ever heard somebody, saying that, the Sergeant at Arms isn't, much of a job. I take total exception and umbrage at that. First impressions are extremely important. Most important. If you don't get a good, if nobody comes near you, you won't stay in your Toastmasters club. That's all I want to say.
Sean.
Thank you very much.
Well
done. Yeah, apologies. I saw your hand was raised for a very long time, so I thought, even though we are going late, I will give you an opportunity to speak. And the point that you made is absolutely 100% right. I think the roles are all working together. I don't think there is any one role higher or one role lower, nothing. We are a voluntary organization. Everyone works together in the spirit of spreading the communication and leadership skills to the community. That's what we are doing. So thank you so much, Sean, for giving that. And now let's go to the next part of the meeting, which is the Moments of Truth presentation. And for that, I would like to invite Lee McGuigan to our virtual stage. Lee, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. You can hear me?
Over to Lee for leading the Moments of Truth session. Huge round of applause to Lee. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Samesh. And what a day we've had so far. And I hope I can keep it going here for the next half hour with a bit of energy and whatnot. That was a very energetic speech by Paul there. But listen, what I'm going to share my screen now, and how this workshop is going to go. I'm going to blast through a presentation just for 10 minutes talking about moments of truth, and then for 10 minutes we're going to go to a breakout room, and you can have a discussion between yourselves on certain topics. I'll show you in a minute, and then when you come back after 10 minutes, we'll have a chat about it then. So I'm going to share my screen here now. 1 second, please. And can everyone see that?
Yeah.
A thumbs up? Excellent. So, moments of truth. What is moments of truth? I thought, Samesh gave this to me, and I thought to myself, what is it? What have the Yanks come up with now? There's some kind of wishy-washy thing. But moments of truth, when I started reading into this, it's actually common sense on paper. All right. That's why I'm going to blast through this presentation, because I think most of the learning you're going to actually come up to yourselves. Okay. So, moments of truth. What is it? It's a moment of truth is an episode. Is an episode where a person comes in contact with any aspect of the Toastmasters experience and forms an impression of a club's quality and service. And I like the way they've used that word service there. I see all our clubs like little mini companies. You know, you all have your little departments, your different areas that you run as officers. And what's our product? It's a service. Okay, we're providing something, and it's something very important. It's people's own goals. It's whatever you make of it. And what we like to do, what's very important actually in a company or an organization, is that we continually improve. And we'll come back to that in a minute, continuous improvement. So there's 6 different topics here under moments of truth, okay? It's the first impressions, their membership orientation, the fellowship, the variety and communication that we have with each other, program planning, meeting organization, and membership strength and the achievement recognition, all right? So it's how we can improve these aspects. And so we take a look at first impressions. All right, so common sense here. So greeting people warmly, and introducing new people to the officers, maybe even arranging, ensuring that the meeting rooms are arranged correctly. You know, that's one for Sergeant of Arms.
Lee, apologies to interrupt you for a moment. Your audio is cutting in and out a little. Maybe just turn off your own camera like we discussed previously. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I can just stop my video.
Yeah.
Okay. Where are we now? Sorry.
Okay.
Is it still on?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay. So where are we? Okay, so the next one, membership orientation. Okay, so formally having a formal induction for new members, assigning people mentors. A mentor is a fantastic thing. I remember when I sat down in my very first meeting as a new member, and I was assigned wasn't called a mentor, but a guide who guided me through the meetings, and it was invaluable for me. And that's the reason why I stayed, because I had that communication with someone, and to explain how the meetings worked. So that's a very important contact, and that's something that specifically can be looked at in terms of in every club. other things like speaking roles, making sure they're assigned and amongst the by the secretary. Fellowship, variety, communication. So just again, ensure that the meetings are enjoyable. That I know we can't do it at the moment, but like it is a social club. So how do we like make it more social? You know, it doesn't always have to be just in meetings. We can actually get together outside meetings as well. I know we used to always, I love the Christmas party, you know, things of that nature. But that kind of fosters our fellowship, our family, as Mesh says, and keeps us communicating. And also club newsletters, our website, Facebook, and things of that nature. That keeps us updated. Program planning and meeting organization. Okay, so certain things here. Members are prepared to carry out all program assignments. Okay, so make sure that you as a member are prepared to do everything that you agree to do or commit to do. That's a very important point. Ensuring meetings begin and end on time. People have busy lives and things like that, and it's very respectful to people that things run on time. Membership strength. What do you hear? Okay, so so 20 people per club. All right. I know it's difficult here again with COVID. A lot of clubs have lost a lot of members and things like that. You know, in the transition to Zoom. But you know, how can we improve that? How can we hit that 20 or more mark? You know, these are things that can be looked at. Ensuring that the club programs are varied and exciting. Pathways. We'll come back to pathways a little bit here. Okay. I think there's a great creativity in some of the projects that are in pathways. You know, read up on them and follow the pathways and dive in, and I think it makes our meetings much more interesting, and we hold on to our members, and we need to recognize their achievements as well. We all have goals that we want to achieve, and it's important that they're recognized and recognized timely as well. For example, when if I reach my the end of a pathway or a level within a pathway, VPs of education should make sure that those projects are done and they get their awards, and those awards are submitted. All right. And also you can see here club member achievements publicized. It's great to social media is a great tool for that. Okay, to publicize the achievements of our members, and again, and that also works on our brand as well in terms of like getting other members then to join in. It's very cyclical like that. Okay, so we're gonna have a little chat there. We're gonna go into breakout rooms. Okay, we're gonna like the Zoom master to create 6 breakout rooms, if you don't mind. And I'm just going to put into the, if I just, 1 second now. If I can just stop sharing, and I'm going to just put something into the chat here.
Lee, can I suggest we use more than 6 rooms? We have a big group of people here, so we might go with 10. We have 84 people.
Certainly, but we have 6 topics.
Okay, well, that's fine then. We'll leave it at 6. That's
leave
fine.
it at 6 there.
Okay,
And so these are our rooms basically. So room 1 is going to be talking about first impressions. How can we improve our first impressions? Room 2, membership orientation. How can we improve that? Okay, what are some ideas for that? Improving our fellowship, our variety, and how we communicate. How can we improve that? Room 4, we'll do our program planning and meeting organization. Any ideas around that? Our membership strength. How do we improve our memberships? How do we get more people on board? These all these interactions that we have, these points of interaction. there's massive amount of ideas that should come from this. And how do we recognize your achievements? All right. So these are rooms. If you look at the top left-hand corner of your screen, and just as you go into the room, you'll be able to see what room number you're in. And I'll pop into each room and I'll paste this in just in case you forget what your topic is. So for the first 30 seconds, I'd like you just to immediately pick a facilitator. Anyone will do, all right? And just 2 or 3 ideas on your topic, on how you can improve that situation within your club. Okay, I get thumbs up from anybody? Okay, Zoom Master, if you'd like to.
Hi, everyone.
Hi. What's our topic?
Hi, Laura.
Membership questions.
We're room 5, so the 5th one.
What's the 5th one?
Membership strategy, I think. Oh, membership strengths, is it? Sorry, I put STR for short.
I think it's a combination of that.
Anybody want to be our speaker?
How about yourself, Donna?
I've no problem, Eamon. Yeah, no problem.
Top man, top left, good.
Membership strength, and any thoughts, anybody?
Well, to keep the ones we have, first of all.
So retention is very important.
Yeah, especially in this very fluid time of change.
Yeah. Good point.
And one of the ways is probably through mentoring.
So, yeah, okay, yeah.
Anyone else?
I think if possible, exploring new ways. I don't know if many people, we had an open night recently, and we also looked into doing, like, sponsored posts on Facebook and stuff like that. So
basically as many channels as possible in terms of communication. So social media, Facebook, well, that is social media.
After the introduction to the Sergeant at Arms, because that's who they meet first. Obviously not online, but
it kind of begins before the meeting starts, doesn't it? It's in that bit of time before the meeting kicks off, officially. Someone arrives in. I don't know if it's happened to you. It's happened to me. I've arrived into a meeting, and if I didn't open my mouth, nobody would have said hello to me.
Oh yeah.
That's in person, is it? You're talking about?
Yeah.
I was talking.
Yeah. Okay, sorry, my internet is, sorry. Yeah, you're well out. Okay, so you might do the talking.
Oh no. No.
Yeah.
I'm struggling at this workshop, I have to say. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
What's the topic again? What's supposed to be? What's the topic?
Membership orientation.
Sorry?
Membership
Membership orientation.
orientation.
All right. Which is kind of what we're at here today, are supposed to be at, is it?
Who knows? Is it our
Anyhow.
sexual orientation? I might as well put it out there now.
I would think I'd throw out a few words for what they're worth. I'd throw out a few words for what they're worth. Now, these are not like necessarily the right.
And so engrossed.
Thanks. No.
No, we don't have our question yet. We're waiting for Lee, unless it's gone into chat, is it?
He's coming. Smash is coming in there.
Yeah. So Sumesh, yes. Sorry, we don't have our question yet, so we're making small talk here.
Okay, this is room 3, so it's fellowship, variety, and communication, I think.
Repeat that, please, Sumesh.
Fellowship, variety, and communication.
Fellowship, variety, and communication.
Yes.
Okay. how do we promote those in the club? Who wants to kick off? Will I pick someone? TJ.
Oh,
I'm just going to do a poll on Mahoney now and just put you on the spot. What do you think?
There are two TJs.
Okay, well you've answered, so you're the one I was talking to.
You're a brat, Jamie.
Thinking on my feet. Stevenage.
Is great for the online is great for sharing slides, where a lot of clubs are just not able to do that really too easily in their locations.
Yeah. Well, we had the other night in our club, the topics master, he did a workshop on imagination, and it really lent itself to the topic session, and it was very uplifting. So there's lots of things you can do. It was so simple, and easy.
Yeah.
It was like a breathing exercise and closing your eyes and visualizing. And somebody came up at the end of the session with 4 points to write a speech.